Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. My name is Baron Collins Hill, and in today's lesson, it's a new month and we have another mandolin masterclass. This time it's hosted by none other than David Benedict. I'm sure you all know David through his YouTube channel. He's an incredible musician, an incredible instructor. He has an amazing Patreon page that you should all check out, and today he's going to be talking about transcription. Transcription is an incredible skill to work on, and David is a true master of transcription. I'm blown away by his skills. He's one of my transcribing heroes. He's so fast and so good and so thoughtful about it, and it was amazing to watch his video, so I'm excited to share it with you. Check out his links in the description to learn more about David and his Patreon page, but without further ado, here's David to talk about transcription.
Hey Mandolin friends, David here, and today I'm excited to be coming at you from the Mando Lessons YouTube channel. And just a huge thanks to Baron Collins Hill for having me. Today, I'm excited to get to show you how to transcribe a mandolin solo, which is an incredibly useful skill to have for ear training, for expanding your musical vocabulary, and for just making you a better improviser and performer all around. But I know this can be a very daunting task if you've never transcribed before, so to make this a little easier here, we're gonna walk through a solo transcription together. And who better to transcribe than the Mando Lessons man himself? Here we're gonna be transcribing a solo that Baron sent to me to be featured in a video over on my channel. It's a video called 10 Mandolin Players Solo Over the Same Tune, and it's a really fun collab where I got some of my favorite YouTube mandolinists to put their own unique spin on this classic bluegrass fiddle tune, Bill Cheatham. You can check out the full video at the link in the description below, but for now, let's take a listen to this cool Bill Cheatham solo that Baron plays. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, let's come over to the computer here, and for this video, I'm gonna be using a program called Finale to notate the solo as we go along. You don't have to use this one. There's some other great options like Sibelius, Guitar Pro. MuseScore is a free software that you can use that has some mandolin tab options as well. You can even use a pencil and paper, whatever does the trick. Also, I should say that you don't have to actually write things out as you're learning a solo. Some people use the word transcribe kind of loosely, just to mean learning a solo by ear and memorizing it as you go along, which in the end is really what you want, to be able to play and internalize the music that you're learning here. But it can be helpful to have a written record of the solo to keep track of where you are as you go along. So for this video, I'm gonna write things out. And as you can see here, I like to write out the standard notation on the top and the tablature on the bottom, but you can use one or the other, whatever's gonna help you learn this solo better. And I like to start my transcription projects by drafting up the entire form of the solo like this, where I know exactly how many measures I'm working with, what key I'm in, and what the chord progression is for the song. And if you already know the tune Bill Cheatham, then you know that we're in 4/4 time, and we have a 32 bar form like this. 2 8-measure A sections and 2 8-measure B sections. You also might know that we're in the key of A major here and that the chord progression goes like this, but if you're transcribing something from an unfamiliar song, you'll have to figure all this out by ear. So at this point, we have the whole form of the solo in place, and it already feels a little less daunting to me because it becomes more of filling in the blanks rather than feeling around in the dark. Now, transcribing a solo is much like learning a tune by ear, which is basically hunting and pecking for the right notes and then stringing them together as you go along. But there are some helpful theory tools that we can use here to make our note guesses a little more accurate. First, since we're in the key of A major, you'll want to know your A major scale. It all starts here. These are the 7 most likely notes to show up in this solo. Here's 2 octaves of your A major scale in the first position. Let's also learn the arpeggios for the 3 chords in our song. To start with, we have A major, which is A, C sharp, and E. Then we have D major, which is D, F sharp, and A. And lastly, E major, which is E, G sharp, and B. These are all notes that are within your A major scale, but we're boiling down those 7 notes from the scale to the 3 notes that correspond with the chords. Let's go one step further here and check out the A blues scale. This is a common sound in bluegrass, and it's something that Baron utilizes a lot in this solo. It's the sound where you're hearing major chords being juxtaposed over minor sounding notes. Here's that A blues scale in 2 octaves in your first position. Take your time to get familiar with all these shapes, and as we go, we might find some notes that don't fit within any of these structures, but all those exceptions are going to be in relation back to the scales and arpeggios that we looked at here. All right, it's time to actually do this, and I'm going to be transcribing from a YouTube video here. I'm going to come over to settings, go to playback speed, go from normal down to 0.5 to make transcribing this a little bit easier. And if you're transcribing something else that doesn't have video, it's just audio, you can use a program like the Amazing Slow Downer to adjust the speed without changing the pitch. Grab my headphones here, and here we go. All right, Baron, starting off with this cool double stop with this A note on the bottom and then that lowered 7th on the D string. And he's playing some syncopation here. Let's see if I can catch it. Ba, da, ba, da, ba. He's playing a dotted quarter note followed by an 8th note with a tie to a quarter note. So we're doing the next double stop on an upstroke. The next double stop is on a downstroke. So it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Then we have this little extra bit going to the D double stop here on the A and the F sharp. So it's a dotted quarter here, and then I believe another. All right, let's see what's going on next here. Upstroke here. Then he's adding in some more notes here. All right, we'll drag this over onto the tab as well. And I think he's actually hammering on to this lowered 7th again, the G natural, getting onto the next line. All right, we're getting into some more double stops with some extra shuffly 8th notes on the right hand. Da, 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 da. And then from here on out, we're kind of doing a lot more shuffly bits. So just 8th notes with that 7th on top. Next 2 measures, he's moving up to an octave with his pinky on the 7th fret. And I think he has an extra open G string to get to the next phrase. All right, we'll drag this over. Throughout this A section, I think Baron's adding in maybe some slight open A and open E strings for some drones, so feel free to be a little bit wider with your right hand as you're playing this. Here, those first 8 measures all together should sound something like this. This part is a little bit more tricky to write out and read on paper because of all those syncopations. But when we get to the next 8 measures, things kind of even out with more 8th notes now. For these next 2 measures, Baron is using his A major arpeggio along with this kind of A chord double stop on the 2nd fret of the G and the D string to get this cool round effect, right? He's playing the phrase repeats 3 times in an uneven way. So he's playing kind of like a A chord there. Da ga da. Next 2 measures he's doing kind of something similar, almost over his G arpeggio, which doesn't fit with the D chord but kind of sounds pretty bluesy. ba da ba da. Doing a little bit of a different rhythm there at the end. A couple notes there at the end. Pretty cool. All right, now we have a lot of repeated notes back on this bar double stop on the second fret of the G and the D. So we're starting off with a couple open G, open D strings. A C sharp at the beginning of the next measure, back to A. Moving note there on the higher string too. I think we're getting into some strumming here too across 3 strings, starting with this ascending line on the D string, E to G natural, and then we have this octave happening here. We also have, I think, this A string ringing out across this whole passage. Drag this onto the tab. All right, let's see if I can play the second A section here. All right, on to our B section now. Let's take a listen to what Baron's doing here. That's fun. He's doing this really cool rag rhythm between his D and A strings while he's got his pinky planted on the 7th fret of the D. And he's walking up chromatically using some of that blues scale on the A string. And then back down. Then for the next line, he's doing a similar idea, not walking up quite as far though. The C sharp. Maybe an incidental kind of D note there at the end. Then he's using some of that blues scale to end this phrase. Ending on the higher E string for this phrase. This on the tab. For the second time around, he's not playing the 7th fret on the D string twice in a row. He's alternating between the 7th fret and the open A string as far as I can tell. So this line I think would sound like this. Here are the first 8 measures of the B section, if I can get through it. More or less. Then it gets a little bit easier at the end because Baron goes back to the melody for the last 8 measures of the B section. Check it out. So he's playing an A major arpeggio here, right? E down to C sharp, up to E, then up to A. And then same for the D. D, F sharp, A. Da ba da ba da. Playing around here with an E major arpeggio. Ba da da. Then walking up to the A note there. Da ba da ba. Kind of starts out similarly here with an A arpeggiated. And then here he's messing around with kind of a dirty third, if you will, going from the C natural to the C sharp. A little bit of a slide there from the C natural to the C sharp. Should look something like this. All right, the next four measures here. Da ba da ba da ba da. Da. Starting on the A string, we're going up in pitch after that. Up to the A note there. Da ba da. And then G natural there. Da ba da ba da ba da. Da ba da ba da ba. Messing around with that C natural, C sharp, and G natural bluesy notes from your blues scale here. Da ba da ba. Then do ba da ba da. Then a little bit of an A chord here at the end. So basically you have the melody here, right? We have that bluesy fill there where we're playing around with the C natural and the C sharp. Then we have some more bluesy fills here at the end. Followed by this A chord at the end. And there you go, we've transcribed an entire solo together. Let's see if we can actually get through this thing. Well, that is an awesome solo for Bill Cheatham. And by the way, if you want the PDF copy of what I've transcribed here, you can find it along with the other 9 Bill Cheatham solos from my video over on my Patreon page. And over there, there's hundreds of PDF transcriptions and MP3 backing tracks, so I hope you'll check it out. But once you've got this solo memorized and up to speed, you can use it in so many ways. You can take some of the licks in here and transpose them to different tunes and different keys. You can improvise a new solo for this tune using some of these concepts that Baron's using here, or you can even play this solo note for note at your jam next time you're playing Bill Cheatham, and no one's going to be the wiser. Just don't tell Baron. And this is just the beginning. The more solos you transcribe and the more different players you transcribe, the easier it's going to get and the more creative ammunition you're going to have to draw from for your own solos. So pick some of your favorite solos out there and get to transcribing. I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for watching and for checking out my YouTube channel and my Patreon page. And a huge thanks to Baron for having me here. I hope to see you again soon.